something snapped inside Oscar Piastri at Interlagos. The usually calm and composed McLaren driver was seen storming away from his garage, visibly furious after an FIA decision that left both fans and pundits in disbelief. Moments later, paddock whispers began to spread. Something had happened behind the scenes, something that pushed Piastri to the edge. What exactly did the young Australian do after the shocking penalty that flipped his race upside down? As confusion rippled through the pit lane, one thing became clear. This was not just frustration over lost points, but a rare emotional eruption that exposed deeper tensions between drivers and the FIA's controversial rulings. Something felt off in São Paulo long before the checkered flag fell. Oscar Piastri's Brazilian Grand Prix began with promise but ended mired in controversy that left fans asking what really happened on lap 6. A routine wheel-to-wheel fight turned into a flashpoint that saw the McLaren driver hit with both a time penalty and penalty points, stunning many in the paddock. What followed was an uncharacteristic reaction from the usually composed Australian, whose visible anger hinted at more than just lost championship ground. On paper, the punishment cost him dearly: 15 points to teammate and title rival Lando Norris, 5 more to Max Verstappen, who had started from the pit lane and still reached the podium. But beneath the surface, Piastri's frustration spoke to a deeper issue: Formula One's increasingly fragile line between fair racing and arbitrary officiating. The pivotal moment unfolded just after the first safety car restart, when the field bunched up and tensions ran high. Lando Norris led the charge into turn 1, with Mercedes rookie Kimi Antonelli, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, and Oscar Piastri locked in pursuit. As the trio jostled for position, Leclerc swung wide on the outside. Antonelli held the middle ground and Piastri dived down the inside line, a move that would soon prove costly. A brief lockup on the damp asphalt sent Piastri's McLaren skidding into Antonelli's Mercedes, triggering a chain reaction that catapulted Antonelli into Leclerc's Ferrari. The impact tore off Leclerc's left front tyre, forcing the Monegasque out after just 5 laps. While Antonelli escaped to finish second behind Norris, Piastri's afternoon quickly unravelled. The Australian was hit with a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points, as stewards ruled he was wholly to blame for the clash. His positioning at the apex, they said, left Antonelli nowhere to go. Piastri was left visibly puzzled by the stewards' verdict, insisting that his manoeuvre into turn 1 had been both fair and calculated. Speaking after the race, the McLaren driver maintained that he had every right to attempt the move. "I had a clear opportunity on the inside, so I went for it," he said. "Yes, there was a lock-up, but I was right at the apex, right on the white line. I couldn't go any further left. I can't just disappear into thin air." He explained that the inside of the corner remained damp following earlier rainfall, contributing to the brief loss of grip. "It was a bit slippery," he admitted, "but I stayed on the white line and felt I had it under control." What appeared to sting most was not the contact itself, but the punishment that followed. "If I had completely missed the apex or just understeered into someone, I'd understand," Piastri said. "But I did everything possible to keep it clean. That's what makes this decision so hard to accept." From Kimi Antonelli's perspective, the chaotic restart left him with little room to react. Speaking in the post-race press conference after securing second place, the Mercedes rookie described how tricky the conditions were in those crucial moments. "I accelerated on a damp patch and had wheel spin, so I lost some momentum heading into turn 1, he explained. "Then suddenly I was in the middle of 2 cars, Charles on the outside, Oscar on the inside. I tried to brake late, but not too late. The problem was I couldn't see Oscar anymore, and then I got hit." Antonelli acknowledged that the incident could have ended far worse and admitted he was lucky to escape with limited damage. "I hit Charles pretty hard, and unfortunately that ended his race," he said. "My steering wheel was bent after the impact, but I was lucky to keep going and bring the car home." Charles Leclerc, whose race ended in cruel fashion through no fault of his own, offered a more measured assessment than the FIA stewards. Speaking after the race, the Ferrari driver resisted the urge to point fingers. "Oscar was optimistic, yes," he admitted, "but Kimi knew he was there and took the corner as if he wasn't." Leclerc argued that the incident was far from the clear-cut case officials had made it out to be. "For me, it's not solely Oscar's fault," he continued. "It was avoidable, and of course I'm frustrated, but I'm not angry with either of them. These things happen." His remarks introduced a degree of nuance to what had been ruled a straightforward penalty, suggesting that Antonelli's racing line may have played a role in triggering the collision. Leclerc's balanced view echoed the sentiment of many within the paddock, who felt the FIA's judgment had overlooked the complexity of the situation. The FIA's official report left little room for ambiguity. At the restart after the safety car period on lap 6, car number 81, Piastri, attempted to overtake car number 12, Antonelli, on the inside of turn 1. Piastri was not sufficiently alongside at the apex apex, as his front axle was not level with the rear-view mirror of car 12, as stipulated in the overtaking guidelines, the statement read. The report went on to explain that Piastri locked up in an attempt to slow down, but made contact with car 16, Leclerc, causing a secondary collision. Piastri was therefore solely responsible. In line with prior precedents, the stewards issued a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points on his super license. While the ruling followed protocol, it reignited debate about Formula One's rigid interpretation of racing guidelines, particularly in multi-car situations under changing track conditions. Many felt the decision failed to account for the nuance of battling on a damp circuit, where visibility and grip were far from ideal. McLaren team principal Andrea Stella was quick to defend his driver, supporting both Piastri's and Leclerc's perspectives. "Yes, there's a slight lock-up, but Oscar holds his line," Stella told reporters. "That's the key point. Kimi knew Oscar was there, and in my view, he shares part of the responsibility. It could have been avoided." Stella acknowledged that Antonelli had been caught in a difficult position between 2 cars, but maintained that the steward's verdict was overly one-sided. "It's a harsh call," he said. "Oscar did everything within the limits of the corner and the grip available, but the decision stands, and will move forward." For Oscar Piastri, the repercussions of that penalty stretched far beyond São Paulo's checkered flag. The Australian now trails teammate Lando Norris by 24 points in the 2025 Drivers' Championship, a gap that might have been considerably smaller had the stewards viewed the incident differently. Yet despite the setback, Piastri struck a calm and reflective tone after the race. "The decision is what it is," he said. "It was one of several challenging moments this weekend, but I wouldn't have done anything differently. I saw the gap, and I went for it." The clash has once again reignited one of Formula One's most enduring debates. Where does firm racing end and recklessness begin? In the razor-thin margins of modern F1, overtaking demands a blend of courage and calculation, particularly when the track offers inconsistent grip. Critics argue that penalising every brush of contact risks stripping the sport of its competitive edge, turning high-stakes racing into a cautious procession. The Brazil incident epitomised that delicate balance. A slightly drier line, a fraction more space, or a few milliseconds of timing could have changed everything. Whether Piastri deserved punishment or simply fell victim to circumstance remains open to interpretation. But for many watching in São Paulo, one conclusion was unmistakable. Oscar Piastri was far from the only one at fault. Do you think Oscar Piastri was unfairly punished by the FIA, or was it a reckless move that deserved a penalty? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, bye for now.